Question number 10 says that Luke purchased a warehouse on a plot of land for his business. The figure represents the plan of the land showing the location of the warehouse and the parking area. The coordinates represent points on a rectangular grid with units in feet. Part A says, what is the perimeter of the plot of land? Express your answer to the nearest tenth of a foot. So the important information here that I see is that 1. The figure represents the plan for how the location of the warehouse and the parking area on that plot of land. That the coordinates represent points on a rectangular grid, and that we're going to use units and feet. This question says, what is the plot of land? The perimeter of the plot of land, and that I need to express the answer as a decimal to the nearest tenth of a foot. So, okay, first thing I know is that the word perimeter just means that I'm going to add up the length of each of these sides of the total land. So the total plot of land has 4 sides. The way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to first find the length of this side here. Luckily, this side goes straight up and down, and that it has only a vertical change from 0 to 60. So that means that this side is 60 feet. Because once again, the distance from this point to this point had just a vertical change of 60. Similarly, from this point here to this point here had a horizontal change of 70 feet. Because if I look at the coordinates, the only thing that changed was the x-coordinates. I went from 0 to 70. So that means that this whole side has to be 70 feet. This side is a diagonal side, so I'm going to have to use the distance formula to find this length here. So for now, I'm just going to call this d feet. And lastly, the last side of the total area is going to be from here to here. So I went from 0, 0 to 50, 0, which means I had only a change in my x values, and that this length is 50 feet. So once I find this number d, I'll be able to add together all 4 sides. So now, I'm going to use the distance formula. And the distance formula says that d is equal to the square root of xa minus xb squared plus ya minus yb squared. What I'm now going to do is I'm just going to come back to the 2 points that make up that diagonal segment, and I'm going to label this xa, ya, and this is going to be xb, yb. So now that I know what is xa, ya, xb, yb, I'm going to plug those values into this equation. So now I have that d is equal to the square root of parenthesis xa, which was 70, so 70 minus xb, which is 50. So 70 minus 50 squared plus parenthesis ya, which in this case is 60, minus yb, which is 0, close parenthesis squared. I'm just going to simplify this to be that the distance is the square root of 20 squared plus 60 squared, which I'm just going to simplify one more time. This is the square root of 400 plus 3,600. And if I combine those, this is really that the distance is equal to the square root of 4,000. which I'm going to plug into my calculator to convert this to a decimal so I can express my answer to the nearest tenth of a foot. So the distance of this side is roughly equal to 63.2 feet. I had plugged square root of 4,000 into my calculator, and I rounded to the tenths, and I got that D is roughly 63.2 feet. So now I am ready to add together all four sides. This is going to be 60 from this side plus 70 plus this side, which is now 63.2 feet, plus this last side, which is 50 feet. And this gives me a total of 243.2 feet. And this is the perimeter of the total plot of land.